Let's record for those who can't make it today. My name is Jennifer Slattery. Thank you for coming with the League of Cities and Towns. And this is our weekly Workshop Wednesday session. So excited to have some new names and probably faces that I can't see at the moment. But thanks for coming. Today we are excited to have our colleagues from the Department of Business Regulation here with us, Christina Santos and Matt Santa Cruz. I'm sorry, Santa Cruz. And Matt is the interim director at DBR, and they're going to talk to us about e-permitting. So thanks for being here.
Great, thank you guys. Thanks, Jennifer. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Everybody can see my screen? Great. So thanks again, and really excited to be here virtually with you all. As Jennifer said, my name is Matt. I'm the interim deputy director of the Department of Business Regulation, and part of my responsibilities day to day is the state building office. And so we're joined not only by Christina Santos, who is our project lead on the e-permitting initiative, but also I believe State Building Code Commissioner Jim Cambio has joined us. And so thanks for that as well. So what we're going to be doing today is just spending a little bit of time going through what the e-permitting initiative actually is and why it exists. Talking a little bit about the value proposition, both operationally and from a fiscal perspective as well, to the municipalities that are engaged with it, and then talking not only a little bit about the sort of interface of the OpenGov system, which I think most folks are familiar with at this point, but also leaving some time for hopefully some questions and answers at the end. So a decent amount to get through, and without objection, I think I'll dive right in. So I think this is not news to most people on the call today, but the General Assembly has passed a law as of a year or two ago requiring every municipality on the state to participate, adopt, and implement an electronic construction permitting system on or before July 1st of this year. And the reasons for that are not just to, pass down a mandate to the cities and towns, but because there are important sort of public policy goals at both the state and local level that we think exist, and that the legislature thinks exist, and that we're excited to be making some progress towards. The kind of causes or problems that we're trying to address with this initiative are things that I'm sure are familiar to many of you, which are day-to-day staff constraints on the sort of permitting front, applicant processes and applications themselves that are missing important sort of information and that take a while under a paper-based system to sort of identify and address and remediate, with a lot of paper flying back and forth, or emails with attachments and that sort of thing. And then at a higher level, obviously, development both for residential and commercial real estate is I think it's fair to say a shared goal across the state, and along with that comes an increased demand on the permitting systems at the local level, and then really important sort of operational objectives to improve customer service and to speed things up, obviously for the customers at the end of the day. And so that's what this is trying to sort of largely address. And so what do we mean when we talk about what the benefits of the e-permitting sort of concept and system are? Municipalities obviously have an opportunity here to greatly simplify their government permitting practices, to increase their internal efficiency and day-to-day operations. And along with that comes cost savings, both operationally, to the extent that you're able to save on sort of staff time, but also just sort of the turnaround time for these permits gets more expedient, and we're issuing permits faster at the end of the day, which obviously hits a couple of those objectives that we've talked about before. And finally, we've got a richer and more up-to-date data set to share with stakeholders at the local level and at the state level, and to the extent that we're able to now, as a result of adopting and implementing this system, tell a more detailed and up-to-date story about how long it's taking to process permits, what sorts of permits are flowing through the system on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. The OpenGov system and the e-permitting process facilitate that in a very meaningful way. So at the end of the day, this integrated platform really streamlines the process across the board, improves collaboration between departments at the local level and also between local building offices and the state, to the extent that there's an interaction there, and allows folks both on the inside and on the outside to track progress along the way to understand where things are at for any given permit and any given project. So the OpenGov system, I think, is familiar to most communities at this point. And if it's not, we're more than happy to engage with you, offline to talk about this. Really, at the end of the day, what this allows, like I said, applicants and communities and governments to do is receive, evaluate, and approve permits in a streamlined and kind of agile fashion across various departments within a municipality, and in a way that's transparent and visible to the applicants themselves. To the extent that many or even most of certain kinds of applications are often, incomplete or inaccurate on the first go around. This is a very quick and responsive way to address those deficiencies in real time as they are identified and as they're noticed, without having to sort of bounce back various drafts of paper versions and that sort of thing. And it allows the municipalities and the building officials to clear these permits and move towards final approval much more quickly. So the OpenGov system, I think, is one that we feel very good about. I think one that's been working quite well for most municipalities have been using it, and certainly has been working well for the state at the same time. So we've made a great deal of progress, I'm happy to say, on the municipal front. As you can see, we've got at this point a couple of dozen municipalities who are fully on board with OpenGov and are using it day to day. Those are here in front of you, obviously. And we've got a good number more on the on-ramp to OpenGov implementation. So Burrillville and Warren are in the implementation phase right now, sort of dialing down the final kind of technical and operational details of bringing that online, and should be online in the next couple of months. And then two more, Jamestown and Johnston, we've been meeting with over the past month or so, and are in the sort of scoping phase right now and really planning out how it's going to work. But we're happy to have them at that stage of the process as well. So we've only got a really small number of municipalities kind of left outstanding, and we're eager to continue and have been continuing to work with them on sort of just outreach and education and making the value proposition clear to those municipalities. So a big part of this value proposition, obviously, is not only the operational benefit that I talked about a couple of minutes ago, but also a very important and clear financial benefit as well. This is thanks entirely due to the investment made by the Rhode Island General Assembly in last year's budget in the State Building Code Commissioner's office. They've provided us with a substantial sum of essentially what amount to grant funds that are available to reimburse municipalities for expenses associated with OpenGov implementation. So there are kind of two flavors of this. One is for municipalities who come on board during the fiscal year 2023, which runs July 1 of 2022 through this upcoming July 1. The state will cover the implementation costs that are incurred during that fiscal year. We've already had a couple of those reach out to draw down some of those funds. And then obviously a large number of municipalities adopted OpenGov way before fiscal year 2023. And we think it's important to recognize that as well. And so for those who are already on the platform and whose OpenGov implementation predates 2023, the state is going to be able to reimburse the cost of the building permit and inspection service areas for fiscal year 2023. So what that means is obviously your sort of annual operating costs for those service areas associated with OpenGov, the state will be reimbursing those as well. And so, I'm sure the question is very quickly going to arise. How do we do that? It's actually quite simple, and it really amounts to the municipality, either the building department or the building official themselves, submitting an invoice for those costs to the State Building Code Commissioner's office, to Commissioner Cambio and to Christina, and we'll work with our CFO here at DBR to turn those funds around back to the communities very quickly. So it's a very straightforward process, and we're very eager to get that word out, because the sense that we've gotten is that it's not as broadly known as it ought to be, that there's a very clear financial benefit available. And again, the General Assembly is very forward-looking in making that investment in this work and in this office, and we thank them for that. And then the last kind of piece of it before we get to questions, and I want to give a special shout out to Christina here. This is also due to a General Assembly investment in not only reimbursement grant funds, but also in human infrastructure and human capital here at DBR. A brand new position was created here at the Department of Business Regulation in last year's budget to solely focus on e-permitting implementation and project management. And that is what Christina's been brought on to do. And we're very happy with Christina. Since she's been on board since December, has been a real benefit to this office, and I hope to the municipalities as well. She's essentially acting as not only a technical liaison who can answer technical questions about sort of the back end IT facing aspects of OpenGov and how it interfaces with the state and other departments at the local level, but also as somebody who's just a day-to-day liaison, project manager, and friendly voice for the municipalities and for the state on all things OpenGov and all things e-permitting. And so that is a really important role that we're happy we filled with somebody quite capable. And so Christina Santos obviously is going to be really your first point of contact with questions about OpenGov and questions for the state. And then beyond that, I'm sure all of you know, Commissioner Cambio at this point continues to be sort of in charge of this entire office and is right in on the weeds on it. And then Sandy Furtado, who historically has been the sort of IT lead and municipal liaison, is still providing a great deal of support to the entire division and to the office on e-permitting implementation, both technically and operationally. And we're very thankful for that. I'm not sure if Sandy's here or not on the call today, but she's obviously been a huge asset to this work. So I think with that, my slides are done. I'm not sure if that was, as long as folks had planned, but I really wanted to focus most of this hour that we have together to the extent possible on questions and answers. Christina, I think will obviously take down all the questions that we get. To the extent that we can't answer them on this call, we're happy to follow up with more information for folks offline as soon as we can. And then the final plug is that we are very fortunate and very grateful to the League for not only this opportunity to present to this group, but also for the opportunity to present at a workshop at next month's annual convention as well. So to the extent that folks are able to join us for that, we'd be more than willing to continue to engage on that. So thank you to Jennifer. Thank you to Director Almonte and to Jordan for giving us this chance, and happy to answer any questions that are at hand at this point.
I do see a couple in the chat. If we could maybe go with those first. Millie is asking if the financial benefit will dovetail to the clerk's office implementation.
So Sandy, I'm going to kick that over to you. We've had that's been a little bit of a moving piece at this point. So Sandy, where are we on that at the moment?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so right now, the funding that was made available was specifically around the building and inspection service area. So to get folks on for building permits. I know for some, the clerk's office, like we're working with Jamestown right now with their planning, and it really just depends on the application type that's being submitted. So if it's specific to business licensing, then that is a different service area. So I will tell you this much. For those that are implementing on now, hasn't been feasible to separate out the costs during implementation to bring them on. So those that are coming on now, those have kind of been included for the few that we've added. But as far as reimbursement for those that are on, because we are specifically pulling those invoices, we know what the service area cost was for building. They're only getting reimbursed for that building amount. So I guess it just depends. Millie, I'm not exactly sure which municipality you're from. So if you're a municipality that is not yet on, then during that planning phase of getting on, it's been worked into the quote for implementation. Hopefully that answers. New Shoreham, you're on, yes. So right now, New Shoreham is on a refund, which we haven't actually heard from New Shoreham yet for the refund on building. But, one thing they could do is all the service areas are the same costs. So what that refund you would get for FY23, then it would be the same cost to implement clerk. So the town could actually just repurpose that refund and reuse it for that.
Great. Thank you, Sandy. And yeah, we can share the slides for sure. Jen, I can send those to you so you have them.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, folks?
Commissioner Cambio, is there anything else you would add to what I said from your perspective, or we basically cover it?
No, I think you've covered it. The building officials, we've had several conversations over the past year or so in this regard, more specific to the building department function. So no, I think you've covered pretty much the entire program.
Great. Okay, well, there's one more question. Let's see here. How many building departments are actually on OpenGov?
So currently we have 32 municipalities on. However, Portsmouth is not on for the actual building department. And we have 4 that are in progress right now. So those 4 are on the slide. They're either going through the implementation of going live at this point, or they're going through the planning and requirements phase of the project, but we have 4 additional that will be on.
All right, very good. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I will share out the slides, and for those of you who joined a little bit late, one more thing. So to establish permitting business licenses, we should begin with Christina. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Yes. Anything you guys need, like Matt said, I'm here. Any questions, call, email, text me, whatever you need. I can even go down to the municipalities and visit and chat with anybody who needs any kind of step-by-step walkthroughs, or if I can't find you the answer, I will make sure I do find you the answer through the processes. But please feel free to call me and reach out anytime with any questions, and we can figure it out together.
And Christina, there's one more. If you could just get back to Melissa Cordero, maybe just the whole group too, if you could just email them. The question was how many are on for business licensing? So I don't have the exact number.
Yes.
I believe it's just over half of them that have come on for business licensing. And then we have some that have come on for other
clerk.
types. Yeah, for other types as well. So we'll get back to you on the exact number.
All right. Well then, thank you to all of you folks at DBR for sharing this information. We are excited to also be seeing you at the convention. And for everyone else, just a reminder, our convention is March 23rd at the Crowne Plaza in Warwick. And you can visit our website to register for that. And we'll see you probably at our next workshop Wednesday next week. So I look forward to it. Anybody needs a copy of this recording, it will go on our YouTube channel, and I will share that out as well. All right. Well, thank you to our DBR friends. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.